So this is the 12 days to Christmas that Mel said. I never realised, to be honest, that anyone would be much interested. So quite surprised at that, the amount of people and emails we've had, and even phone calls. Melanie had one today from someone that their computer doesn't work well or whatever. But yeah, so I just thought I'd talk about influences in my life. You know, working with horses. I've always worked with horses and had them from a young kiddie. I used to bunk off school and get out the window and go and out with the old boys who worked with horses, you know, back in those days. But one fella in particular I'm thinking of, I worked alongside, he was one of the loveliest men. I mean, a lovely man. I wasn't a lovely young man or kid at that time, you know. I had I suppose a bit of a chip on my shoulder. I knew it all and didn't want to listen, and I feel so how stupid I was. I realise now, because that man had so much knowledge, and the wonderful thing is he didn't know he had that knowledge. You know, he never bragged or anything like that. The finest man I ever see drive 8 horses, and could seriously drive 8 horses. Heavy horses, you know, working horses. Anyway, I remember one day in particular, we'd been out and done 3 drops, 3 deliveries, with a pair of Shire horses for the brewery I used to work for, and he was the coachman for that brewery. I.e., there was lots of lads who drove horses. There was 32 working horses when I worked there, plus a show team, if I remember the numbers correctly. There was certainly a lot of horses there anyway, and he was a lovely man on the ribbon, lovely a man around horses, but you know, like many young men, I was headstrong and thought I knew it all, and if only I'd have listened. Well, I did listen, but he never ever got cross with me, although he had every reason to be cross, but he never did get cross. And I remember one day we'd finished, I was driving, funny enough. He used to get me on driving whenever he could, and he'd give you 1 or 2 pointers, you know, and watch out for. And we had a young horse on at the time, and an old horse, and this was his first week or so, and you know, Ernie was there to make sure he went all right, and I worked with Ernie a fair bit of the time anyway when I was there. So anyway, he said, "Oh, just pull up here." He said, "Just hold him up here," and we was up on the common, and I thought, oh, can't we get back home? You know, what are we going to do now? And off he went with his little basket, picking up plants, leaves, all sorts of stuff. And I thought, where's he gone now? I'm looking across the... I can't go and leave him, obviously, can I? And we got a couple of miles to go back to the brewery, so we're up there and along the side of the road, and so we go down the little... So you come back with a great big basket full of leaves. The only ones I can remember, and I do wish I could remember them all, was comfrey and dandelion stalks. So anyway, we just pulled on a bit further and he stopped again, and he was in the hedgerow now. Not special plants, just common things that we'd all see today. Anyway, we get back to the stable, and I'd pull the horses out, water them, brush them, and put them away. We was the last ones back, due to him messing about over. Anyway, but I was interested, and he never ever, if I wanted to listen and I wanted to learn, you know, if I was that way one day when I was a bit receptive, I suppose, he took all the time in the world to show you. Greatest man with a whip in his hand. His control of a whip and 8 horses, you know, was, I mean, obviously not 8 horses reaching out 4 horses deep, but you know, with a pair or a team, but with 8 horses he could drive them. And he was a tiny little fellow, he wasn't any great shorters, and most loveliest of hands. And the horses knew him and understood him. Anyway, he gets all these leaves and he grinds them all up in a pestle and mortar, yeah? And I watch him doing this. I said, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to make some balls. Like that. And we had an old pot-bellied stove that used to be going most of the year round. And he got all this stuff mashed up. He had loads of it, you know, I don't know, maybe a gallon of it, you know, sloppy green liquid. And then he mixed flour with it. And then he got a bit more flour and rolled them on a board, and he dried them on top of the old pot-bellied stove, you know. Just dried them on the top of there. And he used to put them in a big old sweet jar, big old glass jar, you know, like that, to have sweets when you went to a sweet shop. And anyway, I said, what are they for then? He said, well, for the horses, he said, like a tablet, you know, if you're not right, you need a tablet. Anyway, some months later, he said to me, come and give me a hand, boy. He said, and I used to tower over him, you know, I was a big young fellow, and I'd tower over him. He said, come give us a hand, boy. So, all right, boy. Tubbsy, everybody used to call me then. I had a little bit of a belly then. So, or he sometimes called me Tubbsy. He said, come on, Tubbsy, boy, here's an idiot. So, I'll go and give him a hand, and he brought out this. And he gave it to me. And I'll treasure it. It's not anything particular. Wonderful. So it's a piece of wood turned, and it's hollow. It's got a bit of woodworm in it. It had woodworm when he gave it to me, but he used to use it, and he gave it to me, and I thought that was marvellous. So when all these balls were dry and they was in the jar, he'd lovely man he was. He'd pop them in the end here. And I'd have to hold the horse, and very gently he'd slide this up, through in the horse's mouth, slide it up like steady, my boy, he'd go like that. And he'd get it right back like that, and I'd hold him and just hold the horse's tongue gently, and he'd go, tell me to let go of his tongue, and he'd swallow the tablet, you know. And I thought, we shall, you know. The next day, I'll come in to these horses, and you've never seen horses wormed like it in all your life, seriously. Horses that look fit and fiery and nice, ready to go to work, you know, shining coats, everything you'd never associate. Out had come the worms. Not out of every horse, no, certainly not, but out of some there would be worms come. And I was amazed. I thought, well, he's only picked that up. And the other thing he used to do, I forgot to add, he didn't smoke himself, a pipe ring, but he used to have a big block of tobacco. You bought it wrapped up, you know. Looked like a bar of chocolate, big block of tobacco, and he cut it off with his old pen. He always carried a horseman's knife, you know, like curled at the end, like an eagle's beak, you know, curled at the end, went in like that, had an hoof pick in it, actually, you know, and a couple of other bits, quite a big old thing. And he cut this bit of tobacco off and cut it all up fine, that block of tobacco, and put in and mix it up like that and make these balls, as I say. Roll them in flour so they'd hold together, a bit like meatballs, you know. He rolled them in flour like that and he put them round the top and stored them in his jar. I couldn't believe that. And I thought, that knowledge that man had passed down, like his granddad drove a four-in-hand on a road coach. His granddad. Been driving down through the years, you know. And he had some old photographs actually. But lovely, lovely man. And that's why now I always tell youngsters, listen to them silly old fellas, you know, because they got knowledge. The trouble is, it's all gone now, all going fast, from the old horsemen of years ago. But yeah, that's what it is. And he used to call it giving horse a ball. Yeah, fire it up their throat. When I was a silly boy, not to listen, I wouldn't be paying £15 for wormers now, would I? I'd be going up the hedgerow myself, picking up bits and pieces and mixing it up, if only I'd have listened. And there's loads of stories like that really, that he used to, you know, just his wealth of knowledge with horses in general was, I'd like to think I'd get halfway there in my lifetime, you know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed them. Thank you for watching these, and the response we've had's lovely, and if you've got any questions, or please ask. Have a lovely Christmas. I'm just going to have a cup of tea, I think.